When I bought my truck, $650 a month didn't scare me. I'm a plumber, I make decent money, and I needed something reliable for work. I wasn't trying to live some crazy lifestyle. I was working hard, taking care of my family, and trying to get ahead. So when the salesman showed me the payment, I remember thinking, $650? I can handle that. And I could. Every month I made the payment. The problem was, I didn't understand what that $650 was actually costing me. At first, everything seemed fine. Payday came, I paid the truck, the mortgage, groceries, the bills, then I went back to work. But after a while, I started noticing something. I was making decent money, but I never seemed to have much left. So I blamed everything else. Maybe we were spending too much on groceries. Maybe we were eating out too often. Maybe I needed to cut back. So I did. It helped, a little. But every month, another $650 disappeared. Then my insurance went up. The truck needed maintenance. There was gas, registration. And that's when I realized my truck wasn't costing me $650 a month. $650 was just the payment. Still, I told myself, I make decent money. I can afford it, so I kept paying. Then one evening, I was sitting at the kitchen table going through our bills. Nothing terrible had happened. No emergency, no job loss. It was a normal month, and that's what bothered me. Because I had worked all month, even picked up some overtime. But after everything was paid, we still weren't getting ahead. I looked at the truck payment. $650. I pulled out my phone. $650 times 12. $7,800. Almost $8,000 a year, just in payments. And suddenly, $650 didn't feel small anymore. When I bought the truck, I wasn't thinking about $7,800 a year. I was thinking, can I afford $650 this month? Yes, so I signed. But that night, I realized I'd been asking the wrong question. Because technically, I could make the payment. That wasn't the problem. The problem was what I couldn't do with that $650 anymore. I couldn't put it into our emergency fund. I couldn't invest it. I couldn't put it toward retirement. I couldn't use it to help my family get ahead. That money was already committed. And then I thought about all the overtime I'd been working, sometimes Saturdays. I always told myself, work harder now and things will get easier later. But I started wondering, how much of that extra work was actually helping me get ahead? And how much was simply helping me maintain the life I'd already financed? That's when it really hit me. Those Saturdays weren't just overtime. That was time away from my family, time I wasn't getting back. I thought I was trading that time for progress, but part of it was going toward a payment I'd agreed to years earlier. From the outside, I looked like I was doing well. Good job, house, family, nice truck. I worked hard, paid my bills, picked up overtime. I was doing everything hardworking adults are told to do. But I still wasn't building wealth the way I thought I should be. And finally, I understood why. Working hard wasn't the problem. The problem was that too much of the money I worked for was already promised before I earned it. And the truck was one of those promises. That's the hidden cost I didn't see when I signed. Not just gas, not just insurance, not just maintenance. The bigger cost was losing control of part of my future paychecks. Because every $650 I committed to the truck was $650 that couldn't build my future somewhere else. And that's how someone can work hard, make decent money, pay every bill on time, and still struggle to build wealth. I could afford the payment, I proved that every month. But being able to make a payment and being able to comfortably afford something aren't always the same thing. So if you're working hard and wondering why you're still not getting ahead, don't only ask, how much money do I make? Ask, how much of the money I haven't even earned yet have I already promised away? Because sometimes the thing keeping you from building wealth isn't one huge financial disaster. Sometimes it's a payment that felt small enough to say yes to. For me, that number was $650. I thought I could afford it, and technically, I could. I just didn't understand what it was really costing me. But there's another trap that can be even harder to notice. Because what happens when you finally get the thing you've been working for? A raise, more income, more breathing room. You think, finally, now I can start getting ahead. But 6 months later, you're making more money, and somehow you still don't have more money. So where did the extra money go? That's the lifestyle inflation trap. And that's the next reason hardworking adults can struggle to build wealth. Follow so you don't miss it, next Sunday.